Yes, man. Close that door for me, man. Thank you. Oh boy, let me get some water. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? I'm Rami Salam Mel. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Um, we are gonna get to it. I'm gonna get some water. We're a little early, um, so we're gonna let some time get in. Hey, if you got some Moors that you know what I mean, some Moorish Americans that you know, some Moors in the temple that you know, please send this out to them. Please do that. Cause we gonna talk some real talk today. Gotta talk some real talk today, and everybody need to hear this. Get some water. Be right back. All right, let me send this out real quick. We're gonna get started, man. We're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of things, man. And I one second. Bam. I guess I could have done it from here, silly. Um, if you got questions, you know what I mean, as I go through this, please feel free to ask this. You know, I don't want you to feel like it's a stupid question, um, as long as it's sincere. I feel like I'm forgetting something. That's one second. One more second, man. One more second. Got it. Thank you, man. All right. That's what we. Now I'm right. Now I feel right. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. All right. So we're gonna keep it. We're gonna break it down. You know what I mean? Moorish Science. Why it's not working. Um, First and foremost, you know what I mean? If you don't know, if you do know, just kick back, relax. It's all good. If you don't know, Moors is the correct term or the correct way to identify so-called black people, so-called African Americans, so-called Negroes, so-called colored folks, so-called minorities here in the United States, black minorities. We've been called various different kinds of names, um, but the correct term, based on our ancestry and our lineage and our bloodline, is Moors. So that's just to get that clear. Um, and more specifically, when it comes to our political identification, what we know as nationality, that identity is Moorish American, and we got this information, what people refer to as Moorish science or Moorish knowledge or knowledge of self. This information, this knowledge, came from or was delivered or to us and taught to us by Noble Drew Ali. And this brother was born Timothy Drew in 1886 in North Carolina. Did some studying, went to Egypt and to the East, boom, 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 came back. 1913, opened the first temple, the Canaanite temple in New Jersey. Would evolve, and that would come into what we now know as the Moorish Science Temple of America, 1925 and 1928. That's just to give you some backstory and back history. And Moorish Science, to be more specific, really is just the knowledge of who we are. So I hope that makes it really clear, so it's not some spooky thing. It's not some, esoteric, um, you know, intangible situation. This is real facts, real historical people. Come on, Fly, I ain't trying to kill you, man, but you bother me. Um, this is real documented information that you can look up and verify for yourself. So I don't want you to get any of this misconfused or misconstrued or mistaken as some sort of belief. But that does bring us to the point of why it's not quote unquote working. If you're new to this information or if you're on the outside looking in, chances are you may have heard about Moors or seen Moors reference in terms of not paying taxes or quote unquote not being under the jurisdiction or police not being able to arrest Moors. What's another one? About owning Moors, being able to own their own land without having to pay, property taxes, things like that. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Those things are indeed an aspect, but it's been corrupted. You know what I mean? I think that's the easiest way I can say it. I mean, it's much more complex than that, but the basic principle is we are supposed to be operating as our own nation of people, as a community. After Noble Drew Ali passed, people took this information and spun it in their own way for their own selfish gain and greed and jealousy and wanting the fame and wanting to be like Noble Drew Ali, wanting people to look at them like they looked at Noble Drew Ali. Different sources, this is just human. This is what happens. This is throughout history and all sorts of movements. It happens. But over the course of time, it's been corrupted and mutated. So when you look at this from the outside looking in, it may seem like just some sort of gimmick or some sort of like tool to get something. You know what I mean? Oh, access that, that's another one of those things. Is it more somehow have access to their birth certificate, bank account, and can withdraw money, all sorts of things like that. That is the corruption, that's the corrupted understanding. What I want to clear up, though, is that the Moorish Science Temple of America as an organization is the vehicle for us to operate and operate like our own nation and where we are within our own jurisdiction. Those principles and those legal and lawful principles, according to the Constitution and all the laws and international laws and treaties, those things can and will be of use to us. The problem is that we are not operating correctly. Within the organization, there is, some gears that are not turning the way it's supposed to, you know. And if you ain't got the oil in the car, it could be gassed up. It's gonna mess up that engine after a little bit. You know what I mean? If you don't hit you and I want to get to that piece of the Moorish Science Temple of America, this malfunctioning. But before I do, I want to bring in an outside example so that you understand that what I'm saying is not it's not a belief. It's not like some opinion. You know what I mean? This is factual, things that you can look up for yourself. Case in point, Vatican City, the Vatican. You may have heard of it, may not have heard of it. I'm going to drop in a link. And this is a roundabout way, but I hope it'll help you understand what's going on. I'm not going to get too deep into all of it. I just want you to understand the principles at play. Vatican City is the Holy See's independent city-state, an enclave within Rome, Italy. The Vatican City-State, also known as the Vatican, became independent from Italy with the Lateran Treaty 1929. And it is a distinct territory under full ownership, exclusive dominion, and sovereign authority and jurisdiction. Sovereign authority and jurisdiction. I'm going to say that one more time. Sovereign authority and jurisdiction of the Holy See, itself a sovereign entity of international law, which maintains the city-state's temporal, diplomatic, and spiritual independence. With an area of 121 acres and a population of 825, it is the smallest sovereign state in the world by both area and population. So Vatican City is only 121 acres, population of about 825 people. Cam, go in the room for me. Thank you.
Can we sit in the room after she's done with the video?
Go sit in the room. Sorry about that. Peace. But I just want you to understand, 121 acres, this is Vatican City. 1,000 people, give or take. It's the smallest sovereign state in the world. But Vatican is a very powerful state. It mentions something, and I want to go to that because you'll understand the mechanisms that are working here. Vatican City, this is the actual state, the place. It spoke of this thing called the Holy See. I'm gonna drop in that link for you. And I want you to look this up for yourself. Don't believe me. The Holy See. The Holy See, also called the See of Rome, is the jurisdiction of the Bishop of Rome, known as the Pope. Okay, so the Bishop of Rome is the Pope. The Holy See is the See of Rome. And this is the jurisdiction of the Pope, which includes the Apostolic Episcopal See of the Diocese of Rome, with universal ecclesiastical jurisdiction. Wow. With universal ecclesiastical jurisdiction of the worldwide Catholic Church, as well as a sovereign entity of international law governing the Vatican City. So the Holy See is the jurisdiction, the jurisdictional area, right? That governs Vatican City. This is law. I urge you humbly to look up jurisdiction in law. Look up these terms. Look up ecclesiastical in law. Look up sovereign in law. This is not a belief, though we are speaking about religion, but you have to understand religion is, in the true sense, how it operates in the world beyond just on Sundays, for people that grew up in the church, or beyond just the belief or the spiritual side. Religion operates in the tangible, real, political realm. You know what I mean? Legal, lawful, economical, financial realm. The Vatican has a bank. I don't want to even get into that, but just look into it for yourself and you'll see. Never mind. I didn't want to get into that. Now, the Holy See, the jurisdiction, is administered by the Roman Curia, which is the central government of the Catholic Church. I'm going to drop this link in for you too. And then we're going to bring it back to Moors. The Roman Curia comprises the administrative institutions of the Holy See and the central body through which the affairs... Come on, dog. Why you trying to get the sign? And the central body through which the affairs of the Catholic Church are conducted. The Roman Curia comprises of the administrative institutions and the central body through which the affairs of the Catholic Church are conducted. The affairs of the Catholic Church. I'm emphasizing that word for a reason. It acts in the Pope's name and with his authority for the good and for the service of the particular churches, and provides the central organization for the church to advance its objectives. Okay? So we got Vatican City, which is the area, 121 acres. We have the Holy See, which is the jurisdiction, which covers Vatican City and also the churches. The Holy See ran by the Pope, Bishop of Rome, administered by the Roman Curia, the central government, deals with the affairs. Okay, this is politics. This is legal and lawful. This is how it operates. The church, Vatican City, the Pope. Yes, it is. It is, the church and prayer and all of that. But there is a political side. Okay? There is a spiritual side to this Vatican, the church, right? The Catholic Church. And then there is a administrative or a political or a national side, if you will. Okay? So I just wanted to bring that example because that has nothing to do with Moors. That's the Catholic Church. And we all can look. You can see for yourself the Vatican operates. You can do more research into the Holy See, the Roman Curia, Vatican City, and see how it operates. Look into their laws. Look into how they govern things. Look into their banking, their financial situation. See for yourself. I don't want to get into the details, only just to put that example out there so you understand that religion is past, true religion is past just this belief system that it's just supposed to be the spiritual thing. Now, get some water. Bringing it back to Moors, all right? Why is the Moorish thing working? How come Moors can't operate like the Vatican? The Vatican it started in 1929. right around the same. Noble Drew Ali passed in 1929. Interesting. We're not going to focus on that. But I'm saying it's the same time frame. What is the issue? Why isn't it working? The reason is because the Moorish Science Temple of America is only operating on the spiritual side or the religious side, even though the person, the founder, the prophet, let us all know and made it very clear, this is a divine and national movement. It has two sides. Must be two sides. I'm sorry, focus. There's a national side and a religious side. You know what I mean? Or a political side and a spiritual side. The spiritual side is definitely needed. I feel everybody should be studying this on a daily. For yourself, you don't need a middleman. You don't need no priest to come in between. And this book actually teaches you that. However, just the spiritual side ain't going to get it done. And Noble Drew Ali even said that. Said a begging nation can't attain the highest, the highest aspects of spirituality. I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if that's the exact quote, but Noble Drew Ali was very clear if you look into what he did, his actual actions, not what people saying online, not what you hear me saying. Look into what he did. It's documented, his governmental actions. He was moving on the spiritual and the national or political side. And he established what is called the Supreme Grand Council within the Moorish Science Temple of America. And let me read something to you about that. Now, see, this is an aspect of the Moorish Science Temple of America, of the Moorish movement that, and it's unfortunate, but we must be honest, that the people, the leadership, the elders of the movement have not been focusing and addressing. What are the reasons for them not doing that? I don't know. You should probably ask them. But the fact remains is that this thing called the Supreme Grand Council is a very crucial, necessary, integral part of the political or the national side, the side that helps us govern in our day-to-day life, like with taxes, like with land ownership, benefits, insurance, things of that nature. This aspect of the Moorish Science Temple of America would address all of that. In fact, it's the duty. Let me show you. Don't believe me. This is the link I dropped in there is a link to what is known or referred to as Moorish literature. And it's a collection of documents of essays or, speeches, if you will, from Noble Drew Ali. This one is entitled Temple Tax Necessary. Tax. A temple tax. You're speaking about taxes, right? How come it's not working? Correct? Taxes. This is within the Moorish Science Temple of America, mind you. Because if you're saying that you are not under their jurisdiction, you're under your own nation's jurisdiction, well, your nation has taxes. Let's read. Because of the fact that the expense of the operation of the temple is increasing so fast that it was found necessary to vote a tax to the prophet to carry on the work. Go in the room, man. The idea was concurred with the idea of taxes, the idea was concurred with by the Supreme Grand Council. The act is so arranged that it will not be a burden to any of the temples, but the prophet is very emphatic that it shall not be ignored. All right? This tax is 25 cents per month per capita. This will mean that the numerical strength of the temple will bear the proper share of the responsibility of operation. This per capita tax is intended to supply all members alike, governors and grand sheiks included. The governor or officer in charge of each temple will cause a report to be rendered to the Supreme Grand Business Manager of the Supreme 3140 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, which will specify and itemize the following: number of adepts, number of members, number of new members taken in each month, or those who join after rendition of the last report. 25 cents must accompany the name of each such members as the representation tax. I'll finish the last piece. The per capita tax collection begins November 1st, 1928. All concerned will save themselves penalized if they render their reports promptly and specifically, because otherwise it will necessitate a representative calling on such delinquent temples and auditing of their books, which expense will be borne by the temple. All governors and other officers will be held responsible for the representation tax and report by the order of the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I got a question I want to pose to you. Where are these reports? And today, 2020, where are these reports? I used to work for a pharmaceutical company in the records management department. I understand very well how important it is to keep records because we would get audited by the FDA, and it was a very stressful time. We had to call back notebooks from 1950, 1970, crazy stuff from the off-site records that we had. And they had to keep certain notebooks for the legacy of the company. They could not destroy it. Had to have it. So I'm asking you, where are the reports? Hold on, one more time. Cam, man. No. Come on, G.
I need a notebook.
All right, man, but stop interrupting me, man.
I was just being quiet.
All right, man. I see you creeping, though. You creeping, you all in my eyesight. I'm trying to teach and you all creeping. There's no notebook over here. There it is. All right.
When you phrase it like that, it makes it sound bad.
All right, peace, man. Let me focus.
Peace, sir.
Thank you. I love you, but let me focus.
Okay, I'll be listening.
Okay.
Make sure I get notes. Nope. And we never be correct. That's not never.
Philip Jones, every Grand Sheik should have a record on hand. I agree. Brother Philip, I agree. That is logical. That is reasonable. And maybe you don't have it for, let's say, the last 30 years. Okay, I could respect that. But what about the last 5 years? What about the last 3 years? What about the last 7 months? Anyone?
Last 5.
Bueller? Cam, you got to go into the room, man. Race or exile. There's been a great deal of subversion and deception by trusted elders. Not to mention miseducation and subordination. The movement is awash in a sea of negativity. Philip Jones, no, every Grand Sheik must have it on file. Hey, man. Hey now. See, getting back to this Supreme Grand Council, I've been speaking on this issue for the past, let's say, 4 years. And I've been calling. First, it was very humble. Hey, I think I just found out this little thing because I didn't know about it. And then when I found out, I started asking people. Ain't nobody had no answers. I said, excuse me, who are the members of the Supreme Grand Council? Because I just found this out, and this is really important. I didn't even get to the Supreme Grand Council. I'm sorry, my bad. My bad. Let me explain. To make changes. This is from Noble Drew Ali. To make changes. Same Moorish literature. Okay, I didn't make this up. I didn't write this. Just here. You can read it for yourself. To make changes. It is reported that the Prophet, the supreme executive authority, will appoint a Supreme Grand Council, of which he will be the Supreme Grand Chairman. The Supreme Grand Council will have power and duty to control and supervise all the affairs and properties of the Moorish Science Temple of America. All of the affairs, not some, not a few, not the ones on the East Coast, not just the Temple Moors, all of the affairs of the Moorish Science Temple and properties of the Moorish Science Temple of America. All of them. This is the duty of the Supreme Grand Council. Remember when I was highlighting affairs with the Vatican, it was for a reason. That governing the Roman Curia, the central government. The Roman Curia is what is called for the Vatican. The Supreme Grand Council is what it is called for the Moorish Science Temple of America. So when I'm asking who are the members of the Supreme Grand Council, I'm asking who are the officials of the government for the political, for the national side. That is what I'm saying. That's what I have been saying. Maybe I haven't been clear enough. That is why the Supreme Grand Council is so important. It is the governing structure, the governing mechanism, the political, the national, the administrative mechanism for the temple. That is how we use the temple as a vehicle to get stuff done on the administrative, on the legal, on the national side, such as proclaiming our nationality, such as taxes, such as owning land. That's how we would do it. And because the heads in the movement, because the Supreme Grand Council and the people that are supposed to be operating have not, it has become stagnant on that side. And then what has happened is people out of desperation, maybe out of some other reasons, have tried to create their own way, to create their own path, to do it their own way. And that is why it is not working. I know that took us a long way, but that is at the key of it all. And I've been studying this for the past 7 years now. And it took me a while to figure out, okay, what is the stagnation? What is the problem within the Moorish Science Temple of America? Because something is stopping us from operating the way we need to. What is it, though? What is the national side? And I got took and spent and turned, and I was working with some people that, in my opinion, actually were not really righteous people. But it's cool, though. I took the bumps and bruises, and I figured it out, though. That's Supreme Grand Council, and that's why I haven't moved off of this. You look it up. Type in Supreme Grand Council into the search bar, and you'll see for yourself. And more importantly, take me out of it. I want you to look and see how many other people are speaking about this issue. See, it's not so much what people are saying, but you have to listen for what people are not saying. Goodness gracious. Let me continue with what I didn't even finish what the Supreme Grand Council on the full. The Supreme Grand Council will have power and duty to control and supervise all the affairs and properties, control and supervise all the affairs and properties of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and, I forgot that part, and they will be the sole judge of what constitutes conduct injurious to the order, peace, interest, or welfare of the organization, or at variance with its constitution and bylaws. We talking about law. Also, the rules and regulations made by the prophet, and shall be the sole judge of the sufficiency of the evidence by which such conduct is shown. We talking about evidence. We talking about judging. We talking about constitution. This is the government within the Moorish Science Temple of America. And it can operate within a country, such as the United States of America, just as Vatican is operating within Rome, Italy. Do you see? Do you see? I'm not making it up. It's not belief. It's not my opinion. This is the information. You could verify for yourself. And then I humbly ask you to ask the people, the elders, ask the people that are the heads of the temple, wherever you are at. I say, how come we are not addressing the Supreme Grand Council if it is responsible for controlling and supervising all the affairs? All the affairs. Race or exile. The trust has been catastrophically damaged. Now you see, true indeed. True indeed. Let me be honest with you. When I figured this out, I was extremely upset. Because of the stagnation. It wasn't no, evil white supremacists, oppressing us and won't let us be Moors and is stopping us in court. It wasn't none of that. It's us. It's our own, it be your own people. You know what I mean? But the thing that I learned from Drew Ali is that we got to get off the people and get on the principles. People are going to do what people do. That's the battle between the higher self and the lower self. And everybody going to go through their own battles. But if you stick to the principles, if you stick to what Noble Drew Ali established and go by the law, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. That's how you can take your ego out of it. That's how you can speak the truth, even if it's against us. Even if it means admitting, yeah, Moors are messing up, because Moors ain't handling business. Moors have no right to be judging and talking about any other group because we internally ain't on our square. Period, point. You could try to twist it and spin it and say blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's on us, though. And I can say that because I'm focused on the principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We not gonna get to the peace and the freedom and the justice if we don't got the love and we can't be honest. If we cannot be truthful, we can't get to the rest. That's how it go. Love instead of hate. Gotta take the hate out your heart, man. Gotta be honest with ourselves. Gotta stop judging other people. Seeing the little speck of dust in their eye, not seeing all the, yeah, man. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. How would the Supreme Grand Council change the way the movement's moving? That is a beautiful question, Philip Jones. Let me repeat that again. How would the Supreme Grand Council change the way the movement's moving? Based on the documentation, the Supreme Grand Council has the duty to control and supervise all the affairs. The affairs is anything to do with the Moorish Science Temple of America, such as nationality, such as taxes, such as land, renting, ownership, just those there. The Supreme Grand Council could make a statement or you know, I don't want to use an edict, but like a declaration, if you will, a resolution, you know what I mean, if you will, stating this is how you operate as a Moorish American. This is how we are to operate, how all the temples are to operate. And they send that message out to all the temples, and now all the temples have a mandate or a standard operating procedure that they now follow, the rules and procedures that everyone can be held accountable. And the Supreme Grand Council has that authority to tell the temples this is how that's its power, that's its function. And we have to respect that because why? That's what Noble Drew Ali said. It's not what I said. Now, if you're going against what Noble Drew Ali said, there's the issue. And we all know, based on principle, that person is in the wrong. See, if you go by the principle and what Noble Drew Ali set up, then it becomes real clear. Not what you believe, not what those super wise Moor that I heard talking about, we got to do the UCC. Yeah, all of that sound good. What did Noble Drew Ali say, though? That's how you got to keep it. You got to keep it like that. Isn't it the governors? It's all the governors, the grand sheiks, etc. All the heads. The grand, I don't want to get too detailed into the specifics, but it's all in the Moorish literature in terms of how the Supreme Grand Council is functioned and who votes those people in, who confirms them. Very similar to how the Supreme Court is ran and how court justices are approved. I don't want to get too deep into that, you know, because I really wanted to keep it on the principle and just the foundational level to make sure that we understand the importance of the Supreme Grand Council. You know what I mean? And if you look into some of the other videos where I speak, come on, dog, where I speak really specifically about the Supreme Grand Council, I get into more of the specifics. But let me get to I saw one other thing. I think we need to put more emphasis on the attainment of holy breath. If there is enough of us not striving to be righteous, it will be hard to succeed. Arnibavanced, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. I love that perspective. I've been fortunate enough to have had many different jobs and worked around many different people, you know, some very wealthy, rich people. And currently I work with the public where, you know, a lot of times I'm working with people, the least of thee. You know, I did some. I worked for some months in the Tenderloin area in a housing in this housing facility in the Tenderloins in San Francisco. You can look it up to understand what's going on with that. My point is, asking someone who's starving to you need to focus on the holy breath first, and then we'll get to how you can get some food. It doesn't really go over well. I feel what you're saying. I also understand that there's a lot of people that are desperately in need, desperately hurting out here and suffering out here. Don't have a home, sleeping out their car. You know what I mean? In debt, in this cycle of debt that they can't get out of. In living in food deserts where they have no access to good food or good water. The holy breath is important. Absolutely. And we must balance it with this national side. It can't just be one. It gotta be both. One time for the Libras out there. I'm still working, man. All right. Come on, man. Let me finish. Thank you. That's not to dismiss us needing to be righteous. But in my opinion, that's the beauty and that is the true genius of Noble Drew Ali, because it's intertwined. In order for the national side to work, you gotta have the spiritual side. It go hand in hand. Because once you start saying, I'm a Moorish American, now you have principles that you gotta abide by, that people can judge you on. As a black man, what are your principles? As a Negro, what do you stand on? But now once you know this, now it's on you to uphold these standards, and that is the challenge. But when we do that, when we adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, that's actually how we obtain the happiness, the heaven that we're looking for. Because it's not a place that we get into, it's a state of mind. You know what I mean? Hold on 1 second. The truth must be known first, then justice may be done, which will lead to peace, then freedom. After these have been reacquired, love may proliferate. And Ray, sir, I appreciate your perspective. I do. But the principles is laid out: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'm just saying. More than anything, we got to have the love in it. That's first and foremost. If we don't have the love first and foremost, none of this is going to work. That I know for a fact. When you would ask me what to study, yeah, you're right. They're just as selling drugs, or a rich man with a PhD or bishop at the church can't get it done, but he has the audacity and self-righteousness to preach. Yeah, and I think I covered everything I wanted to cover in terms of why it's not working. Well, just I guess to reiterate, how do we get it to start working is we have to address this Supreme Grand Council issue. I was actually speaking to a Moorish brother on the Facebook, and the name isn't even the importance, but the thing is that this person was saying, did you know that you can do business and mortgage and loans through the Moorish Science Temple of America? And I said, how can you ask anyone to do business and be confident when we haven't addressed the Supreme Grand Council issue? And to summarize, his response was, the Supreme Grand Council issue is important, but we can still do these other things right now. And why don't you just support, the things people are doing right now? And I understand that perspective, but the reality and the truth is, it's like on the hamster wheel. It's like, no, a more accurate analogy, it's like trying to put your foot on the gas when the shift is in neutral. That's exactly what it's like. You can do all sorts of work, but you're not really making any progress. You're not really moving forward. In fact, you're kind of just burning out your engine if you press too hard on the gas. Does that make sense? If you don't shift that thing from neutral into drive, you just wasting your. You could turn the wheel, hit the blinker, you know what I mean? Hit the windshield wipers if it's raining. You could do all that in neutral, but are you really going anywhere though? You ain't even got to believe me. Let's look at the fruit of the labor of the past almost 100 years since Noble Ali has been gone. How much progress has been made? It's evident. The Supreme Grand Council is that shift. That's how we get going. Until we do that, until we address that issue, it's not gonna work. We won't progress forward because we are not following what Noble Drew Ali said. It's not about what I'm saying. It's about what Noble Drew Ali said. It's not about what Taj Tariq Bey says. It's about what Noble Drew Ali says. It's not about insert any more there, okay? Put any name you want to put there. It ain't about them. It's about what Noble Drew Ali said. And why is it so important about him, though? Because he's a universal prophet. That's why. Are you a universal? If you're a universal prophet, then step up and say that. And show and prove with your works. If you're not, though, if you're not a universal prophet that was sent specifically for black people, then I will humbly ask, when it comes to the Moor stuff, you get in line and follow what he said. So, the solution to me is simple. Based on what Noble Drew Ali stated. That Supreme Grand Council, because it controls and supervises all the affairs. That's how we address nationality. That's how we address land, taxes, any issue, period. With the Moorish Science Temple of America. It can and will be addressed once we get that Supreme Grand Council right. That is what's going on based on the studying. Challenge the other Moors that you see teaching. Provide them the documentation. Say, how come? Because it says duty to control and supervise all affairs, not some, all affairs and properties. That's what it says. Ask them why they're not addressing it. Ask them, don't ask me. I've been talking about this for, you know what I mean? In my opinion, I think it's because, back to that auditing situation, the report situation. It's because the people in the seats of power, the officials, the governors, the grand sheiks, etc., they haven't been doing their reports. They haven't been doing their paperwork. And when we get to the nitty gritty, and people say, well, produce the document, produce the work. You're supposed to do this every month. You need to include too. And I even get into the fact that we're supposed to have a treasury. And until we got a treasury, we ain't even a nation. That's what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Because he's talking about taxes and paying every month. Well, that money got to go somewhere. Where's the accounting for that? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. In The Wire, the OG was talking about you follow the drugs, you get some, some drug dealers. You follow that money. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I don't have anything else. Is there any other questions? Anything unclear about the Supreme Grand Council? So you have no books to audit. Um, mm, mm, mm. That audit, boy, that audit is gonna produce some things, or the lack of things is gonna say a lot. And I think that is the more that I really reflect on this. And just to summarize, I should have said this from the beginning. This really came from, this was inspired, this whole video just now was inspired because I was listening to this wise brother, MG the Future. He has a YouTube channel and is just a interesting person. I think you should check him out, but does videos on music production and software engineering, but also does these other videos just dropping wisdom and knowledge. And I'm on the IG. I had drunk some coffee. I can't go to sleep. I see he live. I click the live. Boop. He's speaking with Young Guru. Young Guru. The Young Guru with Jay-Z. Young Guru. Yeah, that. So I'm listening. And the conversation is it's a deep conversation. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things being said and a lot of perspectives that I wasn't really thinking about or considering the way I feel I should have. And so I'm listening. And then the conversation gets to Moors. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And this was the crazy part. And not even crazy. It shouldn't be crazy. But Guru was aware of Moors and knew some Moorish brothers and, had some understanding. But he was asking some critical questions that went to the practical aspect of this movement. And I don't remember the specific questions that he asked, but those questions were very similar to questions I had this deep conversation with my brother for like 6 hours about this. And he was like, it's like 5 in the morning. He's like, man, I hear you. He was like, but how do you do this? How many Moors is it out here? Do you even know the number? How do you function for real? And, this is offline. This ain't YouTube. This is just me and my brother speaking. My brother not. And being completely 1000% honest, I didn't have an answer. I don't know if there's ever been a Moorish American census to know what is the population. I don't know. If he said, okay, I want to proclaim my nationality, where's the form? I don't know where to send my brother to. And be confident that you do this step, then this step, then this step, and you're good. And if you need your health insurance to be, this is what you do. And if you have government assistance, this is the route to you. This is who you need to talk to, and you follow with this. I didn't have those answers, and this was years ago. And so when I was hearing this conversation, it sparked that same thing. Like, man, all this high science and knowing all this Moorish information is great. The spiritual side is amazing. But if we can't deal with the very basic, foundational, common, everyday, practical stuff, if we can't answer the very simple, practical questions very clearly, very plainly, it's no, roundabout way. It's no, oh, well, you need to join the temple and then do this and then maybe you'll learn. Nah, it needs to be very clear. If we can't do that, then we are not doing our job. And the people that are responsible, that have the authority to make things clear like that for everyone, the people that are responsible is the Supreme Grand Council. That's why it's not working. That's what we got to address. Oh, Philip, man, you come, boy, the young Philip Jones pulling up with it. This is the work of the young Moors. We can't put it on the older generation. I'm going to leave you with this one, and then I'm going to get off because my son, we got to watch Naruto or something. This is the reality, all right? It sucks that things aren't just operating and we're born into this still trying to figure out it sucks, all right? It shouldn't be like this. It should be clear. Folks should have had this all taken care of. I feel you. If you upset, frustrated, I feel you. All right, but let me give you an analogy. Especially if you got children, all right? You come home, you know what I mean? Dishes supposed to be done. Clothes supposed to be put up. You know what I mean? Bed made up. Toys in the bin. But it's not, though. They didn't take care of business. Cam. Oh, this got a lot to do with you, but let me focus. Your little ones didn't take care of business. All right? But you came home late from work. Hey, man, they sleep. They got to get ready. They got school in the morning or whatever. They occupied. They can't do it. You supposed to leave all the dishes in the sink, trash just everywhere, bathroom all crazy. We got to clean it up, man. We got to clean up the house. I wish we didn't. I wish it was somebody that could do it for us, but that ain't how it worked out. It's like, all right, man. Turn on some Sade. You know what I mean? Turn on that Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? That old school thing. You know what I mean? Get the vibe, get the cleaning up. Get the vacuuming, do a little sweeping, get your bop on. We got to get the temple right. We got to clean things up. Some people may, you know what I mean? We may be cleaning up to the morning. You know what I mean? We may be starting to vacuum. It's 5 a.m. Now we waking the little ones up. Oh, why is it so loud? Hey, man, we got to clean up. You got to get up. Come on now, get up. Move out the way. Move out the way. Lift your feet. Lift your feet now. You know what I'm saying? Saying that to the elders. And this is with the love. But if you haven't been doing your job, humbly, come on, move out to the side. Because we got millions, in all seriousness, we got millions of people that are in need right now. Not just the United States, of America that's falling apart and the issues that we have here in North America, but I'm talking about South America, Central America, and all over the world, though. That's on, you know what I mean? That's the heavier responsibility that we got. And we can't even address that until we get ourselves right. And we ain't got time to waste. Because tomorrow is not promised. That is something that I've learned the hard way too many times. So, just closing out, if you're coming into this Moor stuff, if you're new to this and you just hearing this for the first time, you're like, man, I've never heard about the Supreme Grand Council. I urge you, ask any of the Moorish leaders, the Moorish elders, the Moorish teachers, anybody that's kicking Moorish science, or say they're from the temple, rocking affairs, ask them about this Supreme Grand Council issue. Not because Rami believes it, but because this is what Noble Drew Ali established. Because this ain't what I believe. This ain't my opinion. This ain't my feelings on it. It's the facts. You know what I mean? The evidence is there. Mighty works is ours. Indeed. Indeed. And I appreciate the people out there that understand that. It's work to be done, but, you know, the last thing that I'll leave you with is that the hard work ain't for nothing. You got to trust and know that. You know what I mean? And when you doubt yourself on that, or it's feeling like, oh, man, this seems hopeless, you got to keep working and have the faith on it. That's where you gotta have the faith. That's where the faith come in, to just know us working towards doing this is going to work and clear up everything, and it will be a day when this thing is running smoothly, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen quicker than we realize, and then we're gonna look back and be able to laugh on it. But we got to put the work in, and we got to move the chains. If you know football, you got to move the chains. Move the chains. You feel me? All right. Much love. Keep shining. Yeah, you just had to come on. Come on in. Come on in.
And if you guys are new with this, please leave a like and subscribe. Okay? Love to all of you guys. It is beautiful. Wait, let me wait for this to start. Okay, Daddy, okay.
Love.
Well,
We're out.
love you guys.